Hi, welcome back. I'm going to show you today basically a very simple task of painting this roundel onto that wing. The rest of the decals are useless, to be fair, because they're too big and they're not relevant to this model anyway. The height of these decals, which is for the black only the early Hurricanes, should I say, they had a black wing on one side and a white wing on the other, and I'm not sure if these decals are the right height for the fuselage. I'll measure these up to see if they are anyway, but they might be, I don't know. But the fin, all the other ones are useless. The height of these may be correct as well, but again I'll have to kind of look at photographs of the model and then compare them to the real pictures of the real aircraft. And just try and work out where they sit and everything. So the first job, just dead easy really. You can do it with the ruler, I just use this, but you just measure the circles that you need to use. Now the software I'm using on the machine I'm going to cut the masks with work in centimetres, not millimetres. So this is obviously 20 millimetres, but I have to move the decimal point, so that's near enough. I'm happy with that being 2 centimetres. I've already written these down, I'm just showing them anyway. And then this one, let's have a look. Well, I think it's near enough, give or take 5, but I have got very accurate, so that's 5.1 centimetres. So now I know the dimensions I need. Basically that's all I need to show you here at the moment. I'll end this part of the video here and we'll nip over to the computer and the cry cut machine, and I'll show you how we set that bit up and then how we cut the masks. So I'll be back in a bit. See you soon. Hi, here we are at the computer. Basically I've designed the decals, which is basically 2 circles. It's a circle within a circle, isn't it really? And I've got the sizes the appropriate size to suit this particular model. I haven't got the font for the larger letters. I don't know what it is about these fonts. They seem to vary a little bit on modern aircraft. They don't conform totally to the fonts that the RAF or Allied aeroplanes used to use during the Second World War, so they're quite hard work to get right, to be fair. So at the moment I've got this font reasonably okay for the small lettering on the fuselage, so I'll print these 2 and I'll print the 2 decals, and then we'll go from there. I'll have to kind of do a bit more research into finding the right font for the rest of it. Anyway, so I'll have to move the camera again just to show you the actual cutter working, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, as you can see, it's basically like a printer. This is a sticky back sheet, and you just stick your vinyl onto the sheet in an appropriate place, and I'll get that going now. It's not the quickest machine in the world. When it gets going it is, but when you set it going from a software point of view, you have to be quite patient with it. So give me a few minutes while I get it to print. Obviously this stuff's quite, this particular vinyl I'm using, I think it's about 12 foot on the roll or something like that. It's about 28 pounds a roll, so you have to be a bit economical with it. I'm going to look into finding a cheaper source of material. I am looking for that all the time. You don't use the right lot, to be fair, and you can, even the bits you don't use, you can, if you're printing small lettering and things, you can just reuse it, so it's not too bad. Right, it's just setting itself up to go now. Hit the go button. Give it another minute. So it's now printing the smaller letters, obviously. When I say printing, I mean cutting. And there we are, it's just done the roundels. And just eject that from the printer. Right, we'll go back to the workbench and I'll show you how I prepare this cut for actually putting them on the aeroplane. Back in a bit. Right, back at the workbench again. This is I'll just cut one out. I'm just trying to save a bit of time on this. I'm only going to show doing one side, obviously, and I'll do the letters another day. So this is the cut it's made. You can't see it until I peel it off, but to be able to get this onto the wing, if I peel all that apart, it all goes floppy and that, and you can't actually position it very well. So this is what's called transfer tape. So you just need to, it's just clear, self-adhesive tape. So you stick that onto the mask itself. Like so. I tend to kind of trim around the edges of that because you don't need the sticky bits. So that's enough, is that? Get nice and sealed down. Now we don't need, when we're going to do a circle within a circle, we don't need anything initially other than the big white bit in the middle. So I'm going to leave those two bits behind. If I can get them to peel off. So they can just stay there for now. We don't need this. We just need this bit. This is the outer circle of the roundel, of course. Now, positioning this on the wing in the right place is very important, obviously. So I'm not going to film that bit because it can take a bit of time and I need to work out where it's going to go. So once it's in place, I'll come back to you. Back in a bit. Okay, we're back. Now this is still got the transfer tape on. Now the mask's in place. You don't have to go mad on this, but basically you don't want it to be, you know, reasonably nice in place, squished down onto the surface of the paint, but don't go mad. It's not overly sticky, it doesn't have to be. It can be a bit hard when it's got compound curves in it and things. But basically this is the easiest mask you could possibly use, to be fair. It can get more difficult. So once you've got that in place, you get hold of the transfer tape. If I can. Bit too easy job. Keep that in place. And then peel away the transfer tape. So now we have a mask. Again, make sure it's nicely positioned. Okay. Now you can't paint on that because obviously you need to mask more around it for overspray and things. I just use cheap masking tape. So you need to just mask off like you would anything else when you're painting the model. Depends how confident you are, how far you go with the masking. All we're doing at the moment, the first thing to do is paint a red spot in the middle. Now, you'd think, oh, I could just paint the whole thing red and then put a spot in the middle and then paint over it with blue. You could do that, but the problem is, you'll find, even though the paint film is very thin, right at the very edge, once you've painted the blue over the top, you'd see a little red line, which you can't get rid of, you can't do anything about it. So you have to avoid taking the inner colour out to the edges of the circle. So you can guess roughly how big the circle's going to be, because you know roughly that as long as you cover a reasonable amount of that area in red paint, you're good to go. So I think that's masked enough for me to get away with that. Right, so I'm not going to record the painting. It's just painting. You've all done this. So I'm going to put a red spot in the middle of there and then let that dry. And when that's dry, I'll show you the next stage of the masking process. It's dead easy, but see you in a bit. Okay, back again. Taking a notice of the paint. This is gloss red that I mixed up. Special concoction. It's just basically
bright red with a bit of black in it just to dull it off a bit. So what we need to do now is put the blue mask around it. No, we don't. We need to put the dot in the middle to cover the red up and put the blue on. Now to get the mask in the middle, you basically put the blue one. I put little index marks on it because as much as the Cricut's quite good, it doesn't always print a perfect circle, believe it or not. It's alright, but it's not perfect. So I have to just make sure it's reasonably centred. I know when I put the mask on it was. You get better at this with practice. It's just a bit more tricky when you're doing it with a camera. You don't have to put this on really tight either, because all we're doing is putting that there to find the middle accurately. I mean, I suppose you could do it a different way. But, okay, so now we've got that in there. Get the centre one. And then line that one up. And hope that the paint is dry enough. So I reckon that's in the middle. So all we need to do now is remove this one, because we don't need that there anymore, obviously. Because we're going to paint that bit blue. Just make sure that doesn't move so much. Yeah, voila. So yeah, just don't go mad on it. Just make sure it's in glass. And you know the routine now. I'll be back in a bit when I've painted that bit blue. See you in a bit. Okay, back again. Didn't have to waste any time for this to dry because I'm taking the masking tape off now. So, do you like the subtle lettering? I've been practicing my artwork. Yeah, like, I think that means subscribe, but you know, you get the idea. Right, so I like this bit. I like taking masking tape off. It's a little bit like unwrapping a present, I think, to see what you've got. Has it worked or has it not worked? Who knows? If it hasn't worked, you won't be seeing this video. So I'll have to do it again. Right. Now, I did paint this Hurricane silver, because there is a silver Hurricane kicking about. I think it's in Germany. It looked alright, but I ran out of silver paint and it was getting a bit, I don't know, I wasn't sure about it. I might build another one, and I did like the silver colour scheme, but I decided to kind of stick with this colour. So it has got silver underneath all this. And now and again you pull a little bit of pen masking tape off and you see little silver bits underneath it. Which I don't mind, because it looks like a little bit of subtle weathering, I guess. So if it gets really bad, I'll just paint over that area. So you don't go mad pulling masking tape off, because it can pull the tape, the paint obviously. Nearly there. Ooh, what we're going to get? Probably got a bit much on it really. I'll try and get this in camera. There we go. Right. And then shall we pull the blue off, a bit off first. Ooh. Decisions. Let's do the middle bit. Oh, look at that, a red spot. A gloss red spot and a matte blue one. What do we do? Right. I know this will be alright, but I can get the thing off. So there we go. One painted on Randall. Now that's not finished obviously, because I've got this thing now. I paint everything when I finished it. I give it a coat of lacquer paint, like lacquer varnish, and I always use Tamiya semi-gloss varnish. It's fantastic stuff. It turns everything that's like this into a uniform, nice finish. So I'm just going to go give that a coat of varnish, and I'll be back. So see you in a bit. Right, back. done with the painty bit now, so as you can see, it's all pretty uniform. It will get another coat of varnish. In fact, I want to show you this stuff. Wrong one. This is Tammy's LP24. Now, I love this stuff. I wish I could buy it in larger quantities. Every time I go in a shop I buy 4 jars of it at least. It's fantastic. It's so forgiving. You can spray it on something and it just settles beautifully, especially if you thin it with Mr. Colour self-leveling thinner. Or Mr. Hobby, should I say. And it dries really quick. I mean, I only painted that 5 minutes ago. Fantastic. I mean, and you can polish it as well. So it's a semi-gloss varnish, but I can polish it up to glass if I put enough coats of it on there. I also use the gloss version as well, but I tend to use that more on shiny things like cars and stuff. But it's such a good varnish. I mean, it's so good to use. Anyway, so every time I paint something, I tend to give it a blast with this stuff because it protects it from everything, really. And it kind of makes everything look the same. It makes all the paintwork match each other in at least reflectivity and texture, etc. So there we are. That's the decal done on that wing. Obviously got the rest of the model to do, haven't I? Filming that would take all day. This is the easiest decal to paint in the world because there's only 2 colours to it. Painting that sort of decal is a lot harder because you're dealing with light colours like yellow and white. The order in which you paint that, let me try and remember how to do this. You basically put the big decal around the edge, paint the yellow part, then mask off and paint the white bit, then the blue bit, and then the last bit, the red bit. You can't paint white behind the yellow to give it that density because, as I mentioned when I was painting this one, even on that one it shows, if I put white on there first and then put yellow on top of it, when you take the mask away, you'd end up with a white edge to it, if you like, and you cannot get rid of. So you have to be patient with the yellow and you have to paint in many layers. Just keep dusting it on there and keep building it up. It looks okay, you get away with it, but it just takes longer because you can't just blast it on there and wet it, because as you know with masking, if you start wetting out things, it can creep under the mask. So you have to still paint it on dry, if you like, but build it up slowly. So there you go. Letters are easy. I mean, they're the simplest thing in all the lettering. You just have to get them in the right place and go for it. If you start putting a mask on a compound curve or a curve at all, you've got to be careful that it can, if it's a raised section and stuff, sometimes the mask might not sit flat to the surface. You can put little cuts in it and stuff and encourage it down and stuff. But what I do when I'm painting, I paint with the airbrush straight at it. I don't hit it at an angle like this. Don't spray at angles so it could creep under anything. And try and keep your paint layers very thin and fine, and just build up and be patient with it and hit them at 90 degrees so it can't get underneath the mask. And generally speaking, you're okay. Sometimes you get little bits of bleed, but you can touch it up afterwards. So I hope that shows how easy this is to do and how much better it is than sticking a flipping horrible decal on your model, because sometimes they look alright, but I think these are better because I'm not a weathering person, I've mentioned this before, but even if you wanted to weather that wing now, it's easy because you're weathering paint on paint on paint instead of a piece of plastic on top of some paint, and all the detail underneath shows through perfectly and everything. So it's how the real ones are done, isn't it? So I love doing it, but you do need a bit of patience because it takes a long time. To do this whole aircraft, I would say it would take me 2 days. Whereas to put a set of decals on would probably take you a couple of hours or something, wouldn't it? But you've got to look at the long game when you're building model planes. What do you want to achieve at the end of it? To me, the end result and the quality of the finish is more important than building models really quick and stuff like that. So, hope you enjoyed that video, and please like and subscribe. As I said on my little detailed drawings. Catch you in a bit.